Up into the atmosphere we go as John Carlson gets his first career hat trick and a very defining win for the Anaheim Ducks. Let's get into it on this episode of Locked On Anaheim Ducks.
You're Locked On Ducks, your daily podcast on the Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, everydayer. I am Kyle Kjer. Welcome to Locked On Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Your team every day. Pat Verbeek, big news today. Signs an extension with Anaheim, multi-year deal coming down the pipeline. We'll get into the history of Verbeek and what that looks like later on. We're also going to get into Leo Carlsson, who is zooming around this ice. Does he have captaincy in his future? I'll tell you what I think about that later. John Carlson getting his first hat trick, though, is the first thing we got to get into right now. Massive, massive career moment for John Carlson. Who would have thought that after all this time, offensive defenseman like John Carlson has never had a hat trick until now? Carlson played over 1,100 games. That's 1,100 games plus with the Capitals. Never once got a hat trick. Now, 13 games with the Ducks, little quack quack action, and all of a sudden, he's got his first hat trick. And it wasn't just like a, junk goal, lucky bounce type hat trick either. These were some legit booming snapshots, slap shots, one-timers, every little thing you could think of. And it went in for John Carlson. A couple of power play goals in there as well. Just a massive, massive pickup for the Anaheim Ducks. I'm really, really liking what we're seeing out of John Carlson. I think that he brings a massive veteran presence, and I keep saying massive because that's how massive this moment was. It was just so massive. All right, the Ducks needed to get out of a losing streak. They were struggling, 6 games down the pipe, only needing a couple more points to secure their playoff berth, and they could not get the work done. But then you got a veteran like John Carlson that comes out and says, you know what, boys? I'm going to bring this team together. I'm going to put you on my back after the other Carlson does. And then I'm going to show you what's up. Comes in massive for the boys. And I said it again. Dang it. Just a huge moment for them and gigantic situation for this team to have someone like John Carlson. And I just don't think that, it's the goals that brought this to light. Like, yeah, it's good to get some points and to not get shut out and to have a very staple win over San Jose. But the thing that Carlson also is bringing into this lineup is much, much more than that. The goals speak for themselves, but his positioning, the way he moves around the ice, where he sees where the gaps are, where the holes are, when to pinch, when not to, he's just got a really good mind on his head. And then the support he gives to the other players, whether it's off puck or on defense, just seems like he's in a very, very good spot every single time he's out there. And the communication is key. You see him talking to the boys a lot on the bench. You see him talking on the ice. You see him communicating. He's always pointing, yelling at where guys should move the puck or if he's ready. Like, he's always kind of guiding things and really vocal out there. And I think the Ducks have kind of lacked someone like that. Like, yeah, they talk, they communicate when the play's going on here and there, but overall they're a pretty silent team sometimes. And I think having someone like him that comes in is just kind of like taking charge in a way that, not like he's being an a-hole or anything or trying to be like the captain, whatever. It's just that he takes charge of the moment and he's gonna use his experience and knowledge and help gain an advantage over the opponent. And that's what he does with this team. And the big thing that I love out of his game that isn't even having to do really with him is the chemistry that him and Pavel Mintyukov are cooking up right now. There's something special there. There is good, like, subconscious level connection between these guys where they're just reading off each other. They seem to be in the right spot at the right time. They're not double pinching. They're not getting really caught up on giving up a bad breakaway. And even if there might be a little slip up, they're right there helping each other out. The other one's kind of, cutting across the ice to support if they notice that the other is pinching down low in the offensive zone. And then the neutral zone coverage has been great. Even in the defensive zone, I feel like they do a good job of cycling in front of whoever the goaltender is for Anaheim in whichever game that they're playing in. But you see it day in, day out. They just seem to have a very solid connection. And for how quick it was, considering he started playing with a different partner and then he went to Mintyukov and then he had Mintyukov out with the injury. Now he's back, and it shows how much of a difference that made having Mintyukov out for those couple of games. He pairs up really, really well with John Carlson. John Carlson seems to just get him to play the right way when he's out there as his partner. And then the balance now for the defensive core is spread out so much better that you can kind of throw Zellweger around, or you can have more bump up to forward, or you can have these kind of interesting moves within the D core when you have a good solid pairing like Pavel Mintyukov and John Carlson, and then you've got that good pairing of Trouba and Lacombe. That third pair is just kind of there to mix up and manipulate any way Joel Quenneville deems fit, and it's not going to be too big of a detriment to this defensive core. Now, I would love to have three solid pairings. That's the best. If you can just completely rely on all three pairs, which I felt like we kind of had at the beginning of the season. It fell apart when Hellison's kind of slipped, and then Moore had his issues, and all the D, I think, have been overall solid this season. Just the younger guy, they've had their little moments, and they've come back strong after their little lapse of judgment or whatever it is. When they do show up in the lineup, it seems like they've been pretty reliable. But a big thing too that I think that, needs to be stated and really speaks volumes to just how good and just what type of organization the Anaheim Ducks have. It's just how well him and his family seem to be adjusting to Orange County. I think they're doing really well. You see posts on social media from the fam out doing stuff in the different beach cities and coming from a place like DC to Orange County, very different, but there's things I'm sure that they're finding somewhat similar, especially being in the hockey community. But to have a family come out here with young kids and to treat John Carlson and his family the way they have, and to see the way he plays, he talked after the game just how immediately welcomed he felt, and he just feels so adjusted to the team already, and things are gelling well, and he it's just, there's a lot of players that have come into this team as of late that just have nothing but good things to say about the locker room, the culture, the play style, the way guys are. And you kind of see it. I mean, I feel like there is a little bit lacking of someone to pick the team up when they are down. I think they all kind of slump. Like it's a very emotional game, and being young, you kind of ride those highs and lows, but it seems like the whole team does that. Now, Carlson seems to be pretty even keel so far, and I think to have another balance like that's only going to help. And to see him get a career moment like that this late in his career, 36 years old. I think he was like the third person to score a hat trick for their first time after, I think it was age 35 or 36. So historical moment in itself, and just for him and his career, like what a great moment to go out and get a beautiful hat trick off a new team. And they were like I said, I can't speak volumes about the goals that were scored. They were just massive clappers. One time, like, it was just a beautiful, beautiful scoring night for Anaheim. Kind of everything that we've been talking about on what they needed to simplify and fix. It seems like they went out there and they applied it, and they had a successful game. Now, someone else that's been successful and seems to just have the everything right for him. Like, he's got the mentality, he's got the skill, he's got the wherewithal, and he seems to just be encapsulating a specific role in this team, and that is Leo Carlsson. And we'll get into that right after this. Spring is a natural reset point, and if there's one thing that can quietly cost business money, it's messy communication. Missed calls, scattered texts, no clear thread of who said what. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo. The smarter way to run your business communications. Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2 with over 3,000 reviews. That's 3,000 businesses trusted by more than 90,000 businesses. It lets your entire team share one business number so you never miss a call, text, or opportunity. It's great for small business owners. And the part that I love as someone who really gets engaged in meetings, I know I suck at taking notes, but Quo has AI summaries that save serious time. They log the call, they highlight the actions needed, the next steps, whatever it is that was important in the meeting. It's all captured and given to you in a nice snapshot. I love that. It makes me be able to feel comfortable and go have a nice meeting and know that I'm not going to miss anything. So make this the season no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedonnhl. That's quo.com/lockedonnhl. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. And don't forget to check out the Everydayer Club for ad-free episodes and access to a group chat with myself, other listeners of the show, and all these NHL fans. Tap the link in the show notes or go to lockedonanaheimducks.supercast.com and tell me all your thoughts on these Anaheim Ducks as they start to finish up their season. Someone out there that's working super hard and has been solid for this team the entire season, Leo Carlsson. He is buzzing, zooming. He has everything going for him right now and has all the makings of the Ducks' next captain. That's right. Give that man the C. He is a absolute class act. I think, first off, the Anaheim Ducks social media team, do better. Just do better. Do better. You know what I'm talking about. And if you follow social media and you follow any other teams' social medias, yeah, kind of lacking out here in Anaheim. But someone that could really help with the social media team and get things going, Leo Carlsson. The social team, if you guys could do so much, you could do so much damage out there just highlighting his personality. Let him cook. Let him be Leo Carlsson. And I just don't think they're taking advantage of that. There's so many marketing opportunities and ways to grow the game and get more youth involved and get these younger kids pumped up about Anaheim Ducks hockey. He has, like, Leo Carlsson has some of the quickest little one-liners and quirks. Like, sometimes you have to kind of go back and re-listen and be like, did he really? And he's just got some witty little statements that he's got. And I mean, you got to think this guy, he's native Swedish, and obviously they speak English. Americans, we suck. We don't know how to speak multiple languages, but Swedes, they got Swedish and English, and some of them speak like German and Finnish and like a bunch of stuff. But he comes over here and he's got, not his native language, but he's able to stay in with the communication, stay in the conversation, drop some witty jokes, one-liners, crack some 6-7 ref. He loves a good 6-7 drop. That is like Leo's bread and butter. But he's just really taken on this role as the inspiration and just kind of not like a clown character. Like, I feel like, and I don't want to say Zegras was a clown, but Zegras had a different personality. He was definitely a man of the people and of the kids, and brought a lot of attention to Anaheim just with his play and his swagger and just kind of the way he was. But I feel like Leo is a little bit more on the kid-friendly side, if that makes sense. Like, he's more family-friendly in a way. He's just happy-go-lucky. He's got his why am I now? I'm literally, as I'm trying to say the thing, I can't even think of it. But he has his foundation. That's the word for stuttering, and having his stutter in English. Swedish, he's pretty good. From what I understand, he doesn't have it, but it's English. It comes out, whatever. He gets nervous, but he's made this whole thing to make it not a thing, and has this foundation for kids that have stutterers and speech impediments, whatever. And just making a light out of something that is just a struggle for some people and has always been kind of like, not really getting the best love. And he's out there doing it, and I think he's just creates a great environment for this team. I think the guys love him. Everyone loves him in that locker room. I think again, he's not the like super outgoing, like he's not the clown of the locker room or, not the main like jester or whatever, but I know that these guys love him. You can just tell that I'm sure there's just some sneaky Leo Carlsson moments that I cannot wait until this man is older or out and like we can start really hearing the behind the scenes stories on Spit and Chicklets, run by Ryan Whitney's kids whenever they take over the podcast down the line. But it would be sweet to hear about him because I just feel like there's tons of stories about Leo and just silly moments. Like he's just a silly guy. Like I guess that's the best way to describe him. Like he's just not a clown, not a jokester, not like over the top jester or anything like that. Just a silly guy that just happy, lovey, just loves being on the ice, loves being a good person. And that's what you want to see out of someone that's going to be the captain. Like looking at like Getsy and like the chalk stuff that they would always do. And I just see a lot of personality traits that are very captain-like in Leo Carlsson. And then that's just all the off-ice stuff. Now looking at his gameplay, like look at the game against the Sharks. It was beautiful. Thursday night gets that great breakaway goal. Just a beauty of a goal. Goes all over socials on all the NHL bar down. All the major networks are talking about it, sharing his highlight reel. And just I even saw tweet saying he's the most underrated player in the league right now, that he's got so much potential. Even RA from Chiclet said this is a easy kid to root for. And I agree. I think, and that's all that personality that he has. And with his play, like he talked about how the team had to elevate their play. He mentioned that getting booed off the ice 3 games in a row, and it really got to the players, and they really wanted to come out and be better and prove that they know who they are and that they're the team that they think they are, and they had to come out there and do it. And I think it was a very good display, and to see like him say that he took it personally and then go out there and have that type of performance. And he's not just saying things to say it. He's going out there and he's showing it, and he's really putting his money where his mouth is. And that's what you want to see out of your generational talent of the team, your potential, I think, captain of the team, and the guy that's going to be the superstar carrying this team for a while. Definitely Leo Carlsson is the man. And he just such a all around great person. And I think, again, we're about to talk about Pat Verbeek's career here in Anaheim, but this is a huge pickup. I think, obviously, all my hats off to Adam Fantilli. He seems like a great kid too. I've heard great things about him from Columbus and everything, but Leo Carlsson is an absolute gem, and the Ducks got very, very lucky. Thursday, I want to say, was probably his best 60 minutes of the season. And for him to come out with the statements that he had before that game, after the game, everything like that, I think it's just showing that he is ready to be in a much higher leadership position. He's already got the A right now, but I see him getting that C very quickly. I think everyone is proud of him. Pat Verbeek's got to love him. Joel Quenneville loves him. The ownership loves him. The locals love him. Everybody loves Leo Carlsson. Put that C on his chest. Make him the man of this team, the leader of this team, and the core of this team, because we wouldn't be out here. C stands for Cookie and Carlsson, and he had both of them last night and a goal. So give him the C. It's time. I love it. Speaking of giving him the C and how great of a player this is, Pat Verbeek did sign an extension with Anaheim. I'll get into just what that means and just kind of go over some highlights of his tenure as the GM so far in Anaheim right after this. So it was announced Friday morning that Pat Verbeek signs an extension as the general manager of the Anaheim Ducks. And then also there was a promotion for one of the other staff members in that. I should have put his name in here. Oh, man, I feel so bad right now. Okay, I'll find that. But focusing on Pat Verbeek here, he signs the extension for a couple of years. I'm not exactly sure. It just said multiple year deal is what I saw. He first signed with the Ducks as the general manager in February 2022. And right away, 2022, he got to work. He went to work immediately with a bunch of trades and stuff like that. But first, I'm going to go over just some of the highlight draft picks that he's had since he's been here. And then I'll talk about some of those crazy trades that he's had and what has led most people to kind of be upset with him. And some people were asking for him to be fired. I think if Thursday's game wasn't a success, I don't think we're seeing the announcement today. I think that was a huge staple win. Basically, management, the ownership came out and said, we are making playoffs. This is a mandate. You are making the playoffs. And there was a conversation I obviously had because the team came out and played a whole different game. So, yeah, it was Pat Verbeek signs multi-year contract to remain general manager of the Anaheim Ducks on Friday. This is the NHL.com press release. They also promoted Mike Stapleton to senior vice president and associate general manager. He had been an assistant GM since joining the Ducks on May 14th, 2024. So Mike Stapleton getting a extra role and kind of it's interesting actually. Now I read that senior vice president and associate general manager. That tells me there might be a little collusion potential there. We've seen that in other teams where a guy gets that type of promotion under the GM and then all of a sudden you have a new GM or they're the GM. But anyways, they signed the extension for Pat Verbeek and it's going to be pretty good. So looking at those trades and draft picks, starting with the draft picks, in 2022, the Ducks drafted Pavel Mintyukov and Nathan Gauthier in the first round, and Noah Warren and Tristan Leno in the second round. He also got goaltender Vyacheslav Buchets that year, so putting up the goaltender pipeline there. And in 2023, Verbeek picked up Leo Carlsson in the first, Nico Mijatovic and Kerry Terrence and Damian Clara in the second round, which we'll talk about why they had 3 in the second round. It came from a kind of controversial trade, in my opinion. But Kerry Terrence, obviously he gets traded out. And then you got Damian Clara still had that great moment at the Olympics. And Nico Mijatovic, I believe, is still with the San Diego Gulls. Yegor Sidorov, he was picked up in the third round in 2023. So a pretty thick draft in 2023. Then in 2024, Verbeek drafted Beckett Seneca and Stain Solberg in that first round. Lucas Pettersson in the second, who we saw sign their ECL and came over to San Diego. And then you got Maxim Massey and Ethan Prokoshin. The craziest name in the world. There's literally too many non-vowels in the third. So Ethan Precision in the third. In 2025, the most recent draft, obviously, Verbeek drafted Roger McQueen in the first, Eric Nilsson, Lasse Buyas in the second. Those are kind of the bigger names out of those drafts. Obviously, there's other ones as well, but those are just kind of the main picks that came in those first, second rounds, or names that stood out as players you've probably heard of or paying attention to. Now, looking at his trading transactions and how he's done in that aspect, well, This is the jury's out on a lot of these, I think. Like I said, he was hired in February 2022, right? February. March 14th, not even a month, acquired Drew Helleson and a 2023 second round pick from Colorado for Josh Manson. Oh, this trade killed me. This trade right here made me want to rip my hair out because at this time there was still Cam Fowler, there was still Hampus Lindholm, and Josh Manson was my favorite defenseman on this team besides uh Brandon Montour, who is already gone. So I was just like, yes, at least we have Manson. Well, he gets sent off to Colorado, and I was so pissed. Granted, he does go, good for him. He goes and gets a Stanley Cup. Good on you, Manson. But boy, do I miss that guy. And then on March 19th, there was 2 trades that went down. You had the Ducks got Euro Vakanainen, John Moore, a first-round selection in 2022, and a second-round selection in 2023 and 2024 from Boston for Hampus Lindholm and Cody Curran. So 2 players off to Boston. See ya, Lindholm. At least I was a little happier about that. I was kind of done with him. Then also on March 19th, they got a third-round selection in 2023 from Minnesota for Nicolas Deslauriers, another trade I really miss. Now he's on the Flyers. We could use some of his grit. Granted, Ross Johnson's done a pretty decent job, but I would have liked to see a little bit more there. Now, a big trade that if you're a San Diego Gulls fan and a goalie fan, this trade was massive for Anaheim. Looking at it now, they had acquired left wing Zach Aston Reese, Dominic Simon, and Kale Klang, and a second round selection in 22 from Pittsburgh for Rickard Rakell. So he kind of went straight to work his first year as a GM, just stripping the cupboards of whatever Bob Murray had and kind of bringing some picks in and really building up some draft capital. Some other big names there. They got Michael Del Zotto in December of 2022. They sent Danny O'Regan to Detroit. There was, let's see, we got Hunter Drew sent off. They acquired Josiah Slavin, kind of an under the like a minor league trade there. Brock McGinn and a 2024 third-round pick from Pittsburgh for Dmitry Kulikov. They also got Andrei Suster, Nikita Nesterenko, and a 25 fourth-round pick from Minnesota for Klingberg. And they also got defenseman Chase Prisky from Buffalo for defenseman Austin Strand. Oh, boy. Ilya Lyubushkin, that was one. But the big one that everyone loves, August 18th, January 8th, 2024. Looking at the wrong date here. Cutter Gauthier, Philadelphia for Jamie Drysdale and a 2025 second round pick. Gladly giving up those items to get Cutter Gauthier. This trade will always and forever be the staple on Pat Verbeek's hat. I don't think anyone could ever hate him for what he did with that trade. At first, it was questionable because everyone loved Jamie Drysdale and he was Zegras' little buddy. But then we get Cutter Gauthier, and now looking back, absolutely love that trade. Another massive trade that they got, obviously, the Zegras send out was massive. That one definitely scratched people the wrong way. Getting Ryan Pelling back. This was a weird one. The Oliver Chillington from the New York Islanders for future considerations. Did he just leave? Oh boy, I don't want to be rude or anything, but I remember this is my last little story here. Basically there was some good work here by Pat Verbeek, but Oliver Chillington gets traded March 7th, 2025. Deadline trade. Everyone's like, well, okay, why? We just got rid of Brian Dumoulin. That sucked. That was a heartache. But we're just like, what is going on? So I go to the Orange Alliance flight report. I forget what the heck they call it, but it's basically an event on a Saturday. They had it this year, and I heard it was kind of rough this year, but this was in 2025, and everyone's like waiting for the meet and greet. We're sitting out at these tables. Pat Verbeek comes and talks to us, tells us, I want to get a top 6 shooter and blah, blah, blah. And then we get all the spiel from everybody. They talk about the OC vibe, but then they bring the players out to do like a meet and greet, and you can go, like they're just kind of walking around. You go find a guy, get in the line, whatever. Well, all of a sudden this dude comes out and he's in a Ducks jersey and he's walking around with all the other, or no, they weren't even in jerseys. That's right. They weren't even in jerseys, but they had like a press person kind of walking around with them, whatever. And this guy like comes over with the press lady, and everyone's like, who is that? Like, he looks like a player, I think, but who is that? And finally someone's like, is that Chillington? And then everyone looks it up. Oh yeah. Oh, hey. And so everyone kind of went and said hi to him. But for a good like couple of minutes there, everyone's just like, who is that? Like, who is this guy just walking around with the other players? What the so that was interesting trade moment there. But overall, I think Pat Verbeek's done a great job for this team. I think there's a lot of good structure and culture. And I talked about it there with John Carlson coming over. And I talked about how Leo Carlsson has been picking him over Adam Fantilli. And then the surprise of Beckett Seneca. Drafting wise and development wise, I think he's been very spot on. The trades have been questionable for sure. There's definitely some head scratchers in there, but a lot of them have turned out to be beneficial for the team. So one of those guys where I think you just have to get used to the fact that you're going to wonder, what in the world are you doing, Pat Verbeek? But then like give it a month or two and you're going to be like, oh, okay. All right. I see what you did there. And it's going to work out. So good job on you there, General Manager Pat Verbeek, or GMPV as we call you on the X and Twitters. And now you can buy literally the entire monster factory that produces all of the white monsters. So good on you. Way to get a payday and way to take care of this team. Let's get a couple playoff bursts in this run here. And put a little Stanley Cup on that finger of yours. Stanley Cup ring, Let's get you one of those. Okay, Pat Verbeek? Can you do that for us? Can you do that for yourself, please? But thank you, listener. I am so proud that you tuned in today. I'm so proud of you. You did it for my Friday evening, late night extravaganza here. But thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, and subscribe to Locked On Anaheim Ducks so you get all the episodes. Also go subscribe and follow me on the socials, X, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, all that jazz. If you never miss an episode, the Everyday Club is built for you. Get Locked On Ducks ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to LockedOnAnaheimDucks.supercast.com to join the club. And for those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. And on audio, make sure you make your second listen NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL. And as always, I'm Kyle Kjer. Be good out there.